Hey everybody, Parallel here. Welcome back to Star Trek Online. So, the Crystalline Entity event is done. You've been grinding for the last 14 days, and I'm sure you're ready for a break. Well, not so fast. Looks like Cryptic has other plans for you, I'm afraid. You're going to be grinding for another 14 days. That's right, because they just released another event today, which is the Into the Breach event. So that means they've kind of upped the ante here. Now you're looking at a 28-day grind. You've got back-to-back events to go for. So this is getting pretty crazy, I have to say. Cryptic is really upping the ante on the grind game here. Now all they need to do, I mean, if they want to do this perfectly, all they have to do is add on, just like start up a Mirror Universe event right after this Into the Breach. There you go, guys. Then we'll have 42 days of grind. Well, maybe I shouldn't be giving Cryptic any ideas here, but yeah, so I think we can all guess as to why Cryptic might be doing this. As you probably know, the Age of Discovery is coming out later this year, probably a couple months from now, and we're in the middle of a big content drought, and I think we can all guess that Cryptic's team is probably in full swing and fully dedicated to the Age of Discovery content, which means between then and now and then, we're not going to be getting like anything new, like period. So it looks like their plan here is to basically recycle as many events as they can. I mean, I've been playing for 4 years now, and I don't think I've ever seen two back-to-back events, like literally like starting the day one, the previous one ended. So this is a bit of new territory here, but anyway, in this video I did want to go through and do a run of the Into the Breach event, and we'll take a look at the new rewards this time around. Unfortunately, I do not have 14 Voth transmissions like I did for the Crystalline Entity event. I had a bunch of those crystalline shards saved up from previously, but I did not have it for the Voth transmissions here. So that means I won't be able to show the reward right away here today, but we can at least take a look at the project and what it is. And I'd recommend if you go to Cryptic's website, they do have a blog post showing this reward. And it is pretty cool. It is a pretty nifty looking reward, I have to say. It is a bioengineered Furiadon. You can see it right here. The tooltip. So it's basically a combat pet. And most important thing about this combat pet is that it is a laser dinosaur. That's right, guys. It's just like the dinosaurs you get, or that you see in the Voth battle zone. So that is pretty damn cool. I mean, how can you go wrong with laser dinosaurs, right? I mean, the only thing better than a laser dinosaur is like a laser shark. So laser dinosaurs will be now your pet. So that's pretty awesome. So definitely once you log on your character, make sure you go to your reputation, events, and queue up this Into the Breach event reward, so you have the project slotted. Even if you can't finish the event this time around, just make sure you keep this project slotted, and you'll be able to finish it the next time the Into the Breach event comes around. If you didn't get to finish it this time, because these Vault Operative transmissions don't change from event to event, so you can complete it later. You just got to make sure you keep this event's project slotted. And I do believe it is a someone's photobombing my video here, but we can, I do believe it is an account-wide unlock, and so you only have to grind it on one character, which is good. So there you go, guys. Laser Dinosaur for this event. You do get the other typical rewards of your choice of marks, 500 fleet marks, and a nice chunk of dilithium ore, 50,000. So good deal. So it's a good, fun reward. I'm not expecting like huge damage output or anything from the combat pet, but it will be fun to have a laser dinosaur following you around, I have to admit. All right, so let's go ahead and get this queue going. Actually, I did want to show quickly the ship that I'll be using, because I chose this ship for a particular reason. If anyone is aware, Cryptic this week has released a little bit of news and some details regarding the new features coming in Age of Discovery, and one of those is the new Tier 6 reputations. And I'll probably do a separate video on that, maybe once we get closer to Age of Discovery, and and all the details are a little more well known. They released a little bit of, they had a live stream last night that I watched as well. They released a little more detail about this Tier 6 system, but it looks like some things are still kind of work in progress. But one thing I immediately wanted to mention is that, and I think this is huge, is that now, I mean, you know that they're going to be adding Tier 6 reputation to all of your existing reputations, where right now they all cap out at Tier 5, they'll now be a Tier 6. And one of the very nice things they're going to be adding here is the reward. One of the rewards for getting to Tier 6 will be a fleet module. That means if you get 5 reputations up to Tier 6, you'll have 5 fleet modules. You'll be able to get yourself a fleet ship. That's pretty freaking awesome. That is, particularly if you're a free-to-play player, this is going to be huge. This will be a really streamlined, or yeah, I guess streamlined is the word I'm looking for, a very smooth way to transition your character and actually progress, you know, into a fleet level ship, you know, without having to spend Zen or anything else. So this is actually really a fantastic reward. I think this is really big for free-to-play players. Being able to get yourself a fleet Tier 6 ship, I mean, it's just something you weren't able to do before. I mean, recently when they increased the level cap to 65, you know, with the last expansion, the Victory is Life, they did give you a, what was it? A Vice Admiral requisition token that got you a Tier 5 U level ship at level 61. And now, once you know, finally max out your reputation to Tier 6, you get 5 of them up to Tier 6, you'll be able to get yourself a fleet ship. So that's pretty fantastic. I mean, that's kind of a nice progression there. So, I mean, for the longest time, you were stuck at, as a free-to-play player, the last free ship you got was that, you know, that Tier 4 ship all the way at level 40. So this is, I think, a big improvement and gives free-to-play players a good progression path. And so that's why I chose this character, because I'm still flying the Fleet Battlecruiser, you know, basically the Fleet Avenger, Tier 6. And I still love this ship. The ship is a little bit overshadowed by the Vengeance now at this point. The Vengeance kind of outclasses it, but still is a very solid ship. It will last you a very long time. You know, you can fly this ship around and have a lot of fun, have good damage and performance while you're just kind of saving up to get your hands on a Vengeance. So I'd still recommend this ship highly. Yep, just make sure, just head over to your fleet requisition character on Starbase, and if you select Fleet Tier 6 ships, you could take a look at, I mean, there's quite a few Fleet Tier 6 ships. I mean, even the KDF and Romulans will have some selection here. A lot of good ships you can get your hands on. Wow, they even have the Fleet Recon ship here already. This is a brand new ship, the New Orleans. So that's pretty cool. But the Fleet Tellarite, this is actually a pretty decent ship. A lot of good ships in here. You get yourself on a Nebula. You can even get a Tier 6 Akira. So lots of good fleet ships you can get your hands on. Just take a look and make sure you look at the requirements here. Some of these ships have various requirements, like you have to make sure your fleet has some fleet ship provisions, and I believe they also, some of these have, you have to have a particular level in your starbase, your fleet does, so you got to keep that in mind. Yeah, I know for this, the Lucari scout ship, the boomerang ship here, you do need to have your fleet colony at Tier 5, which very, very few fleets have, I believe. I mean, I think only the largest of the large fleets have that at this point. That's going to be a long way off for even mid-sized fleets. But yeah, so that is pretty cool. Lots of awesome Tier 6 fleet ships you'll be able to get your hand on with that new system. And yeah, you'll be able to see what the Fleet Battlecruiser does here in this video in Into the Breach event. And there is the build I'm using. It's basically a forward-facing build. This is a 5.3 weapon ship, which I love. One of the very few Federation fleet ships or faction ships that actually have a 5.3 weapon configuration, which is one of the things I love about this ship. It also has a pretty decent survivability console that has a two-piece with the Vata quantum missiles, which is a pretty fun little console. I like to run more for fun than for performance, but Yeah, pretty typical dual phaser build. You could do, you could also do a cannon forward cannon build on this, which I have done as well, which works also quite well. So that is the build I'll be showing here. Yeah, so let's go ahead and queue up for the Into the Breach, and let's get to some details on the event here. So it is running from September 6th through the 27th, so pretty much the whole month of September. You, of course, will have to run this once a day for 14 days to get those Voth transmissions. You can only get one every 20 hours. And then you slot those all into your reputation project here. With 14 of them, you'll be able to complete it and get your laser dinosaur. All right, so yeah, let's go ahead and queue up. And I believe the last time I did a video on this event, I already went through all of the changes with the revamp of the queue. And at this point, since they streamlined it, it's actually very straightforward. There's not a whole lot of tips or tricks you need to be aware of, honestly.
Is vulnerable. It's time to attack.
Basically, it's a fun queue if you've not done it before. It's a fun concept. It's kind of the idea of the trench run, you know, taken from like flying an X-wing through the Death Star trenches. So you fly through this, you know, here's this massive Voth city ship, which is a very cool thing. You just basically fly through this middle trench, and you will be flying at like full impulse speeds, even though you will be able to attack, which is kind of cool. Something unique about this queue. Basically, you just fly through the trenches. Towards the end of the trench, when you at the aft of the ship, you got to take the right tunnel, and you follow that around to the outside of the ship, and then there will be an entrance into the inner superstructure of the ship. You fly through there, and there's a room in there that you will have to kill a few smaller reactor cores. Yeah, so once you get into this area, you will be going at full impulse, even if you fire weapons or whatever, which is kind of cool, and you can kind of take out these little turrets. After you take out those, I like to use my evasive maneuvers to get up to speed, and that will get you back into the area of the trench where you will be back at, you know, full impulse speed. So that is a good thing. Keeps you going a little bit faster. But yeah, once you head into the superstructure, you just have one room now that you have to take out the 3 smaller reactors, and then you just have the final room taking out the main reactor. So very much streamlined from the way it used to be, where you had to go through several different rooms inside the ship. You had to rescue a bunch of Federation ships that were in there. Basic maneuvers isn't up yet. There we go. But yeah, now that it's so streamlined, it's actually not too bad. This event is, I would say, next to the Crystalline Entity event, this is one of the quicker events to actually complete the queue. And speaking of vengeances, there's a vengeance right there. You got to take a pretty sharp, almost 180 turn there. And now you're actually flying along the outer side of the hull of the Voth City ship.
Located a vulnerable.
Yep. Someone who's already there, you can click that rally at the breach point. That will take you, teleport you right there in case you get lost or stuck or anything. There they go. They already took it out. So we'll head in here. And here you are. You're in the superstructure. This is actually really cool. I actually really enjoy this part of the queue, flying through the superstructure. It actually reminds me of Star Trek 1, the motion picture, when the Enterprise is flying through V'ger. Kind of reminds me of that, with all the lights and everything, and just feeling like the ship is tiny compared to, you know, this massive ship that you're going through. I'll use the console. One thing I should mention, that if you are going to get one of those fleet ships, you don't actually get the console or the starship trait. That's something to keep in mind. And there's a ship down there to rescue. There's also that one there to rescue, and then there's one over here to rescue. That's one of the optional objectives to
Warning, ship is under attack.
rescue the 3 ships. But it's not a huge deal if you don't. I don't know if it makes much of a difference at all in the rewards.
4 shields failing. Rear shields failing. Right shields failing.
Okay, so this part, once you get past, you clear out the boss ships and rescue the escorts, the Federation ships. This is the area with the, this is the room with the 3 small reactor cores. Better watch out, Vengeance. You can actually be crushed by this. Oh, there's another Arbiter in here. Okay. But, yeah, one thing to keep in mind when you're doing these is that there are decoy cores. So if you see a core with a question mark, that is a decoy. Don't destroy it, because if you destroy one of those decoys with the question mark, see, like this one doesn't have a question mark next to it. So it's a real core. But if you destroy one of the cores with a question mark, it will explode and put a electrical debuff on you. You can clear it with Science Team. But otherwise, as far as I can tell, the appearance of which one is random. See, this one is a power core with a question mark. Don't destroy it. Someone just did, and you can see I'm debuffed now. And I already used my Science Team. This is a good team. They're making very short work of this. But basically, you just do that 3 times. It'll randomly appear between these 3 pylons. You just open them up, expose the core, and you just got to do that 3 times, and then that will open up the main core, which is over on this part of the ship. So here is the main core. Let's go ahead and use our VAD on it. It does teleport you sometimes. And yeah, that was pretty quick. You did see those 2 rotating pieces around the core. Those will block your shots, so if it comes between you and the core, it will block all the damage. But after that, basically, you just got to escape. Take out the core. And this is, again, a very cool section. I love these running through the superstructure of the ship here with everything exploding and everything. A very cool effect. And there's always one turret there. I don't know why. But there you go, guys. So you make it out, and you just park yourself outside the ship here. And you've completed the queue. It's pretty easy, pretty straightforward. Nothing too major. Just I think the hardest thing is just learning the path and making sure you don't get lost. Just follow the path that I did, and you should have no problem. You could sometimes get a little bit lost in the reactor room if you get teleported around. You might get lost as to how to get back out.
Excellent work.
Until you get
Your
familiar with
efforts
it.
have
But
deprived the Voth of a valuable asset.
yeah, just yeah. Once you're in the reactor room, there is that exit path along the bottom. You can also go back out the same way you came and go back through the reactor room and take a right and go out, and that will take you. It kind of meets up with that escape path. But for whatever reason, I just like to go through the bottom area of that room, and it just takes you back and meets up with the tunnel. It works very well. And let's see, you do get your choice of marks. Have gamma, have gamma. You don't have gamma. Seriously, Cryptic? No gamma marks? Ugh. So, guys, no gamma marks. Which is what I actually really need. Let's just go with some competitive. And I do believe there is a R&D weekend going on. Yep. So since it's an R&D weekend, you will get your little bonus R&D pack, get a few extra materials. Kind of cool. Let's fly around a little bit. Check out the Voth ship. I got a few more seconds before it boots me out. But I always love doing this because this is actually really cool. You can kind of see, let's get a kind of a bird's eye view here. So you can see, you start over there, and this is the trench that you go through. You know, the trench goes through, and then you, at the end of the trench, you take the path, and then you come down here around the outside. And you can go through this part of the structure, this part, and then that's where you go enter in. So, very cool. I do love those Voth City ships, and I think they did actually, Cryptic did a good job of kind of reproducing it here. It has a nice sense of scale. But yeah, and that is the Tier 6 Arbiter. Still one of my favorite ships in the game. I just love flying it. The nice thing about this is that it is quite a bit more maneuverable than the Vengeance. That's pretty much its only advantage over the Vengeance, which outclasses it in pretty much every way. The Vengeance even gets, what am I running to? Invisible wall here, looks like. But yeah, the Vengeance just outclasses it in every other way. It's got better seating, it has a hangar bay. It's just a very cool ship, but still, I love this for its maneuverability, and it is a lot of fun to fly. And like I said, with the new Tier 6 reputation system, you'll be able to get your hands on a Tier 6 fleet ship quite easily. In fact, that kind of gives me an idea. I think maybe once we get closer to Age of Discovery, I should probably do like a little buyer's guide here of what are good Tier 6 fleet ships that I would highly recommend. And I'm actually curious if, something I don't know is if the fleet ships come with a experimental weapon. Because like I said, they don't come with the console or the trait. If you want the console and the trait, you do have to buy the C-Store version. Yeah, you will have to buy the C-Store version if you want the console and the trait. And if you do buy the C-Store version, keep in mind it only takes one fleet module to get the fleet upgrade. And then you can just transfer over the console, and you know, once you learn the trait, you can, you know, dismiss that ship and then fly the fleet ship, which is basically what I did here. I did actually get the C-Store version first, and then just used one fleet module to get this. But all in all, that is the new Voth event. Since it's been reworked and streamlined, it is quite a bit better. Not nearly as long of a grind. It's not quite as fast as a Crystalline Entity, but it's nowhere near as bad as like the Mirror Universe event, which is, oh my god, I hope they don't have a Mirror Universe event right after this. That would be torture. Yeah. So, but yeah, still looking forward to Age of Discovery, but you know, with the content drought the way it is right now, I have to admit I haven't been playing Star Trek Online as much as I have been previously. It's a bit of a slow point here, so I guess it's a good time to you know, take a little bit of a break, not get burned out too bad. I would say don't grind yourself too hard on this event. Just do it on one character to get it done with. Oh, that reminds me. I totally forgot to talk about this. Speaking of reducing the grind, there is a new way to reduce the grind, which is pretty crazy, I have to say. I was not expecting this either. Cryptic added something to the store here, the C-Store. You can actually purchase 10 Voth operative transmissions and one ultimate tech upgrade. I didn't realize it came with an ultimate tech upgrade. I saw the blog post about this where you can now buy transmissions, and this basically means you're just buying yourself 10 runs, basically. So you're almost, I mean, you'd only have to run it 4 times to complete the project after buying this, which is actually kind of odd. I don't know why they wouldn't just make it 14. Just say you could just buy this flat out, and then you complete the event. That's probably how I would do it, but for whatever reason, you only get 10, and you got to do it 4 times. But if they throw in an ultimate tech upgrade, that actually really sweetens the deal. Those ultimate tech upgrades are really nice. And you can see here the price is 800 Zen. Without the tech upgrade, I would say, probably not worth it. With the tech upgrade, that's, not actually half bad. Because, I mean, let's see here, 800 Zen. How much dilithium are we looking at for that? Right now, dilithium is, Zen's going for 268. So you're looking at about 200,000, 200,000, 215,000 dilithium. And if you complete the project, you're going to get 50,000 of that back. So you're looking at like 160,000 dilithium, 170,000 dilithium to not grind the event and get a ultimate tech upgrade. I could see that being quite tempting to many, many people. If you have a lot of extra dilithium sitting around and you're sick of the grind, it's not bad, and you get the ultimate tech upgrade. So, even though I think it's not that bad of a deal, it does leave a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth. This is kind of like, well, I mean, let's face it, this is a pretty typical free-to-play scheme here, right? I mean, it's basically pay to skip, or pay to accelerate, or pay to reduce your grind. Pretty standard tactic in any, any free-to-play MMO at this point. So, yeah, I mean, I guess I can't complain about it that much, especially because these events are so standard at this point. I mean, it's been these 14 days of events have been around for many, many years now. Having a way to bypass it is, I guess, seems like an inevitable thing. And throwing in the tech upgrade there, I think, does sweeten the deal. So I'd have to say it's pretty tempting to do that. I'm almost talking myself into buying this here because I do like them ultimate tech upgrades. If anyone's curious, these ultimate tech upgrades, they will take any piece of gear immediately to Mark 15 gold. I mean, you don't have to, that saves you quite a bit of dilithium, honestly, in upgrades, and a lot of, Phoenix tech upgrades. So, I mean, you're honestly, for how much dilithium you're getting back and how much dilithium you're saving in tech upgrades, if you were to buy this for, a couple 100,000 dilithium, I could see it actually not being that bad of a deal, especially if you value your time and not having to grind. So, yeah, those ultimate tech upgrades are really, really nice, particularly for like, if you want to upgrade reputation items. Those are really expensive to upgrade, and things like that. So it is a good thing. So I'm kind of curious, what do you guys think about this? It's a change. I mean, this is the first time Cryptic has offered this, and I have to say, it's not. They're pretty smart, doing it now with this particular event, considering, we just got over a 14-day grind. They're adding another 14-day grind. They're really putting the incentive out there to skip this event. So, and then, lo and behold, you've got, a brand new item that allows you to skip an event. I don't know. I mean, it's not a bad deal, but it's also these, it's typical free-to-play tactics that I just kind of don't, you can't, leave that sour taste in your mouth. So I'd be curious to see what you guys think about this. Do you think this is more free-to-play bullshit, or do you think it's actually a valid thing? Do you just want to pay to save some time? That's what this is. All right, guys, but I think that pretty much covers it. Still looking forward to Age of Discovery, but yeah, we just got to deal with this content drought for the next couple months. Hopefully they'll slowly trickle out some more news and things about upcoming changes. I know they also just released that there's going to be a random queuing system with Age of Discovery. That should be something. May talk about that in more detail, because that could have some pitfalls as well. And they're also revamping a lot of the storylines and everything. So a lot of work going in there for sure. I understand why there's a content drought, but that doesn't make it any, more enjoyable or any less enjoyable. It's still going to be a content drought, and there's still ain't going to be much to do. But for now, guys, yeah, just to finish up your you know, grind out your Into the Breach event and get your laser dinosaur. And yeah, think that pretty much covers it. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and that's all. Bye for now.